blip, 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 blip. This is like the cold open. It's just me being so stupid. So stupid. Hello, everybody, and welcome to What the Hell Should I Watch? I'm Steve Stebbing.
And I'm Chloe Stebbing.
And we are the weekly rundown of what we're watching, which may become what you're watching. And we come at you every Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific time on stevestebbing.ca. And I mean, last week was a banger of an episode with those first two. And I don't know, you don't want to be the slump coming off of that one, but I don't know. The fresh this week is a little different fresh. All right, that's so fresh for your eyeballs. I decided to take in a rom-com, which is a weird idea for me. This film is Fly Me to the Moon.
Marketing maven Kelly Jones wreaks havoc on launch director Cole Davis's already difficult task. When the White House deems the mission too important to fail, the countdown truly begins. Starring Scarlett Johansson and Channing Tatum, directed by Greg Berlanti.
And I honestly, heading into this movie, I didn't really set the bar very high. You were spared a lot of the film Twitter and the internet film community and what their thoughts are on movies and trailers, and a lot of people were saying this looked like a fake movie. Or
Yeah.
and
I saw the trailer a few times, and the more I saw it, the more I was like, this is a little weird. Like, it does seem like, not that it was entirely put together by AI, but that the premise of it was like an AI prompt, and they built
yeah,
off of that.
it was like that they put likable leads, charming script, American nostalgia, and
Yeah,
go. And
exactly.
I mean, to a degree, it is that. Like, Channing Tatum and Scarlett Johansson are incredibly charming as actors, especially when you put them in a comedy setting. Like, they all kind of excel in those ways. And the script is actually pretty solid, and it's by a writer named Rose Gilroy, who basically willed her way into writing Scarlett Johansson rom-com and succeeded. But because of all of this, I kind of had the low bar set for the whole thing. And which I should have kind of kept Greg Berlanti's like last film in mind. He did a film called Love, Simon with Nick Robinson. It
Right.
was made into a series as well, but the movie is really great, and a film that I went into the screening of like feeling almost nothing about it, and came out on the other side like really like happy that I went and saw that film. Like it is such a well told sweetheart of a story. So I should have known that he would have that again in a different sense in his ability. Because basically they take all of that charming stuff and all that good script and they heap it on top of, like I said, American nostalgia and American space nostalgia, which is like almost completely different. And it's also it's cheesy in the way that it was an America that was still had wonder, and they still had a sense of awe to them because they were doing something bigger than they're leaving the planet, going to the moon, like it was
Yeah.
a big deal. So they do that quite well. And it ends up making the movie work. Woody Harrelson's in this one and plays like the CIA everyman, but nobody at the same time type of character.
Okay.
So really cliched, but it's Woody Harrelson, so of course he makes it work like $1 million. Like it looks great, and the film is actually really shot really nicely too, also towards that nostalgia degree. Done by Darius Wolski, who's basically done everything Ridley Scott has directed. Darius Wolski directed that, shot that, but he also shot the first 4 Pirates of the Caribbean movies, and I contend that those movies are freaking gorgeous. Like I love the
Yeah.
Pirates movies so much. Um, but I mean, other than that, it's a solid film. I also call this the turtlenecks and undershirts movie, because Channing Tatum wears a series of very loud turtlenecks that I guess go with the character. But every character is very prominently wearing like, I don't want to call it a wife beater, but the undershirt, the tank top undershirt. You can clearly see
Right.
it under every dude's clothes, and I'm like, oh right, that's when everybody dressed in layers, like a lot. So it's that's kind of funny as well, a very minor detail, but Fly Me to the Moon is not a movie you need to see in theaters, but it's not a bad movie if you enjoyed a good rom com here and there. All right, let's move on to what you can watch on your Blu ray player at home. That's right, on the blue this week, and I'm going to be a Criterion nerd again. I'm digging up more of my Criterion collection. This film is the debut feature film of Lynne Ramsay. This film was called Ratcatcher.
A naive young lad navigates the dirty, squalid streets of 1973 Glasgow and the poor youth around him. Written and directed by Lynne Ramsay.
I feel like being on my Criterion shit like almost weekly at this point. I'm gonna get you into this Criterion train at some point, and there's gonna be some crossover movies that I think you really like, you really enjoy. Actually, I mean, in the last few months, they released The Others as a Criterion edition. Nicole Kidman, where she's got the kids that are agoraphobic. They can't go outside. It's like World War II, world just after World War One, and they're waiting for the father to come home. I don't know if you ever saw
I
that one, The
I
Others. It's
don't
really
I don't
good,
think I saw that one.
and
Okay.
it's really good, and it's very like the scares in it are like very sound based.
Okay.
It's really solid. Eventually, I'm going to get you on the Criterion train. You're going to be into these too. But Lynne Ramsay is a very very interesting director. Her other films she would do afterwards. She would do a film with Samantha Morton called Morvern Caller that's really really good. A vigilante film with Joaquin Phoenix that I think is one of his best films he's ever done called You Were Never Really Here. I freaking
Okay.
love that movie. It's damn good. Really, really
Okay.
good.
I haven't seen it yet, but I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, it's awesome. But the next film that she did after Ratcatcher is a film called We Need to Talk About Kevin, with
Yes.
Tilda Swinton and Ezra Miller. And that movie is rough. Yeah.
I really liked that one, and I watched it, like, after Ezra Miller lost his mind, so
Oh,
it was kinda just like, maybe he's not acting here.
yeah, yeah, maybe this actually did scar him. But Ratcatcher is a really really interesting film. It is bleak. It is really sad at its core. And it's also really like, really uncomfortable. Like it makes you really uncomfortable because it's a lot of this kid coming of age as way too young as well. So there's some really uncomfortable moments in this film, but Lynne Ramsay never wants to shy away from it for a second, and I think that is very interesting. It kind of in my mind has a little bit of connection with a film like Harmony Korine's Gummo, like it just in that untethered childhood story of of being left to your own devices and stuff, for better or in this case much 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 worse. I'm not going to get into spoiler territory on this kind of stuff, but the last moments in this film, there's such a rush and mix of emotions, and the last little bit is just tragic. I was just like, it's just so tragic. I just felt so stunned by the whole experience, and it's short. It's only an hour and a half. Yeah, it's really 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 interesting. And also there's a pretty young Tommy Flanagan in this movie. A lot of people would know him playing Chibs on Sons of Anarchy. But this is of course after he was in Mel Gibson's Braveheart, but the year before he was in Gladiator, he played Cicero in that movie. Um,
Okay.
yeah,
I
it's
was
Tommy
so upset when
Flanagan.
Cicero died. Um, for the viewers, I just recently watched Gladiator for the first time like 2 days ago. So
Well, we might as well, because we just talked about Tommy Flanagan, who's kind of like an important character in that film. Uh, how does Gladiator? Because now this is 24 years after Gladiator was released. Gladiator was a 2000 film. The year you were born, this film came out. So
mm,
what did you think of this one? As there, because you don't have the same grounding with Ridley Scott that I would.
no, I liked it a lot. There were spots where I was bored. There's a lot of politics going on,
Hmm.
and those parts I was kind of like, eh. But everything else made up for it. I mean, Gerard Butler, obviously.
Hmm.
Joaquin Phoenix, always love seeing that guy.
What do you mean, Russell Crowe?
Russell Crowe, yeah, I get them mixed up all the time.
Gladiator is a movie that I feel like a lot of people form their movie identity around. It was a lot of people's favorite movies of all time for a long time.
Yeah,
Um, which is why heading into a second one feels so weird.
especially after 24 years. Like it
Yeah,
is an odd gap.
yeah.
And um people were asking if um Russell Crowe,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
That's
Yeah,
who's in
Russell
it?
Crowe.
Okay.
Yeah,
See, I already forgot. If he was going to be in the second one or if Maximus was going to be in the second one. And it's like, guys, he's dead.
yeah. He dies. He died
He
in it.
died, guys. No.
No, I saw one corner of the internet really mad that Spencer Treat Clark wasn't the main character of this movie, like that he didn't reprise his role in this movie.
Okay.
And I'm like, you've got Paul Mescal. Like,
Yeah.
stop complaining. You've got like one of the hottest actors in Hollywood right now. Shut up.
Yeah.
I
And
love Paul
Joseph Quinn's
Mescal.
going to be in it and I'm really
Just
excited
yeah.
to see him again. So,
And Denzel in such an interesting looking performance. The accent and everything. I'm so interested in this film. So,
yeah.
and Denzel and Ridley Scott make good work together. American Gangster is a great film. But yeah, Ratcatcher is just a phenomenal film to bring it all back home. All right, so let's move on to a DC animated film, and I usually love these. This is Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1.
The Anti-Monitor, the Monitor's evil counterpart, is released into the DC multiverse and begins to destroy the different Earths that compose it. The Monitor attempts to recruit heroes from across the multiverse to fight back. Directed by Jeff Wamister.
And I love these movies. I've always been about these DC animated movies when they come out. It's just they're fun and seemingly released on kind of like almost a 3 to 6 month cycle. You get a new one, and I've enjoyed all of them. And I was really excited to check this one out, both because I like the Infinite Earths kind of style of storyline, and the comic in which this is loosely based on, I enjoy as well. Um, this one was so atrociously bad. Can't even I can't even sugarcoat it at all. The animation feels like it was completely lacking in comparison to everything that we've seen before. Like Batman Under the Red Hood is fucking immaculate. That movie rocks from start to finish. And this one is not even helped out by a good script, because the script is so it's just so stilted and so scaled back, and it like made me even lose engagement with the film from time to time. And it's sad because this is like the tried and tested people that have done these roles for a long time. You got Matt Bomer playing Flash, Jensen Ackles is Batman, Darren Criss is Superman, Zachary Quinto is Lex Luthor, and I mean on and on. But the lines are so limp and just delivered with absolutely nothing behind them that it doesn't even feel like there's any voice acting. It's just the reading out of a script, and with nothing at all working for this. Like I I already have two in a steel book, and then they're releasing three in August, and it's like, what tether do I have to this story that I'm engaged right now? Because it's all just so incredibly flat. And I'm just kind of bummed about this. I was kind of looking forward to it, and it just did not come through at all. But I thought this kind of interesting about it. The Barry in this one is the same Barry from the beginning of the entire DC animated movie universe. So, which means that no matter how many times they reboot the universe, it's always doomed to fail, and he's always at the heart of it. So it's like this sad spiral of doom that'll never end for Barry Allen.
Right.
He can never pull out of the tailspin, but he can destroy this world because it fucking sucks.
It's always frustrating when movies and shows and whatnot just waste good actors
Mm-hmm.
like Jensen Ackles and Zachary Quinto. Like, I really like them, so to hear that they were kind of just thrown crap in
Mm-hmm.
this is upsetting.
Because he's not in Invincible anymore. He was just in season 1, I believe, and then once they do the reveal on his character, it's just the kid's voice. It's just the teenager's voice now, as far as I know.
Right.
And then they never go back to they never use Zachary Quinto's voice again. That's a good character though. I really enjoy that character. And
Yeah.
the stuff they did in season 2 with Monster Girl. Good
Yeah.
stuff. Good stuff. I'm looking forward to what else they pull out of that story, because it's good stuff. We keep sidebarring on this one. But yeah, I'm not enthused for the rest of this Crisis on Infinite Earths, and unless it gets better. And from what I'm reading, it doesn't. All right, let's see what's streaming out there. That's right, the streaming pile this week, and Disney wants to go all biopic. They're doing it with Daisy Ridley. It's Young Woman and the Sea.
The story of competitive swimmer Trudy Ederle, who in 1926 was the first woman to ever swim across the English Channel, starring Daisy Ridley, directed by Joachim Roning, available on Disney Plus.
Joaquin Roning, him and Esbert Sandberg, they did a film called Kentucky, and he also did one of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. I think On Stranger Tides was their movie. Oh no, actually, it might be Dead Men Tell No Tales, the one with Javier Bardem
I
as
think
the
we had
villain.
this exact same conversation in like March.
Yeah, we did, because I was talking about Max Manus, a
Yeah.
movie that Joaquin also did. Yes, yes. So this is just a rehash. But I mean, Daisy Ridley gives a really winning performance. I really like Daisy Ridley. I want to know that she has more depth to her, because besides that Office movie she did recently, she hasn't expanded out of that Disney style yet.
Okay.
Between this character, it's just a lot of smiles, a lot of just like, I don't know. She doesn't feel like she has a lot of depth to her character. And this film, I mean, there was a film that came out on Netflix last year called Naiad, and it got awards recognition because Annette Bening was nominated for an Academy Award, and I believe Jodie Foster was as well. And basically, it's about Diane Naiad, who swam from the shore of Cuba to Florida. And this one kind of feels the same, but like a Disney-fied version of this whole thing. And it takes place, I believe, in the 60s, I want to say, the 50s or 60s. Or no, probably before that. I'm probably way off shooting it. Probably like the 30s or 40s. But I feel like, when Disney does a biopic, like everything kind of feels glossy around the edges a bit.
Hmm.
That's kind
Like
of how.
everything's purposely put together.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
even and no spoilers here, because if you look at the real story, you know that she makes the trip or whatever. Like, she's able to swing the English Channel from France to England, and it all works out, right? But like, even in the end, and this kind of ruins the movie a little bit for me, and makes it more of an average film, is there's a lot of cutting to other people that she's interacted with along the way, being like listening to the radio and being like, she did it. She did it. And it's just kind of bugs me. I don't know. That shit really annoys me now. It doesn't feel genuine anymore.
Yeah.
And I've seen it so many times, especially in the 90s and especially in sports films. So this one kind of crosses all of that off. But I will say, because we did an aquatic movie last week, which I called Dry. This one was not dry. I was kind of interested in the whole time. And it's got Stephen Graham in it, and I adore that guy and everything he does. I'm just a big fan of that guy. But I know that this is that Disney maybe wanted this to be a bigger streaming film of 2024, but in the stack of great films in 2024, it won't, it's just not memorable whatsoever. And I don't know, is this the state of where live action Disney films are, like going straight to Disney Plus, or we're not getting a theatrical release? Like I think a film like this would probably get killed in the box office, but it feels like Disney, maybe after Indiana Jones and stuff last year, is like, yeah, we're gonna do a lot more of the streaming releases and not theatrical, unless it's like Inside Out or other
Right.
big
Unless it's
Disney.
animated.
Yeah, or the upcoming Mufasa movie, if that's even coming out this year. I saw a trailer and then it just disappeared, so I don't even know if that's coming out this year. But yeah, that's not really live. They call it live action, but it's not live action. Disney feels like they're in a weird limbo right now. I'm definitely late to the game on this one, but I started watching the first few episodes. Season 2 of House of the Dragon.
An internal succession war within House Targaryen at the height of its power, 172 years before the birth of Daenerys Targaryen, created by Ryan Tondel and George R. R. Martin, available on Crave.
And I don't want to speak too much about this one because I'm going to revisit it once I'm done the second season. Do you watch House of the Dragon?
I haven't watched it. No, I didn't even finish Game of Thrones.
Okay.
I
Okay.
I didn't watch season 8.
Okay. Okay. And that's the season a lot of people had a problem with, that it was kind of rushing to the finish line. I mean, I have my issues with it, but I also have things that I enjoyed about it. But season 1 of House of the Dragon was very much piggybacked onto the screen by Game of Thrones. Like, that's the whole reason we're watching it, is for connections to Game of Thrones.
Right.
But season two's job is to stand on its own, to be a prequel no longer,
Mhm.
and to not depend on that kind of stuff, and utilize what characters it's made and what history it's already made within it. And I think it's really starting to do that. Episode 1 has a really shocking ending on it too, that um it's shocking. It could make or break for some people to continue watching it, but it's pretty brutal. And I think it's really starting to come into its own. The cast is incredible, and Olivia Cook is always phenomenal. I really like her. Matt Smith is Matt Smith. I mean, you can't really go beyond that one. And Emma Darcy is just this absolute discovery, that I'm loving, and I'm loving her actual real personal style and everything. She is just I don't even know, a non-binary king or queen. Like, she is just so, like, she's a powerful person as a person. So I'm really enjoying her. Risa Fons is a freaking legend, and I enjoy everything that he does. And then Eve Best is in this, and I've loved her since the Edie Falco show, Nurse Jackie. So I've always been a fan of hers. But the young cast is really good too. Ewan Mitchell is just absolutely evil in this role. He's also in the movie Saltburn. I don't know if you've ever seen that one. And then this other actor, Tom Glyn Carney, who plays King Aegon right now. He's so good. And he's actually the older version of the character that David Tennant's son played in the first season. I was like, oh, there's another Tennant out there. Yes. Um, I'm kind of low key happy that this was the only spinoff to come out of the Game of Thrones stuff. Because it gets a little like Walking Dead right now is swimming in so many different spinoffs that have come off of that show. Some good, some not good, some mediocre, some, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't want it to get saturated like that. I think it would maybe kill my interest in the whole world. But yeah, I am late to the party. I'm just at the beginning of season 2, but I will bring this back later. Another one that I am not quite caught up on yet, but it's a Netflix hit. This is Cobra Kai.
Decades after their 1984 All Valley Karate Tournament bout, a middle aged Daniel LaRusso and Johnny Lawrence find themselves martial arts rivals again. Created by Josh Heald, John Hurwitz, and Hayden Schlossberg. Available on Netflix.
And so we're heading into the final season. Season 6 is the final season of Cobra Kai. They're splitting it up, of course, into part 1 and part 2. Part 1 is available this week. Part 2, I believe, sometime near the end of August. I think maybe Chloe, you can fact check me on that one. I mean, this is legacy and nostalgia series done really well, and not one that I had any idea that we really needed, but they've managed to create this martial arts world beyond those films from the 80s. And Ralph Macchio is great. I really love to say that Entourage, his appearances himself on Entourage, kind of set him up for doing something like this. But William Zabka, I don't know if I've seen him since the Karate Kid movies, and he's so great in this. He's such a great lead because the show is very much built around him, and I think he's fantastic. And also, this show started as a YouTube Red series. Do you remember YouTube Red? It was like a
Very
subscript. It
vaguely.
was like a subscription thing within YouTube, and Cobra Kai was one of the shows that Sony made for it. So this ended up getting picked up by Netflix after season 3, I want to say. So season 4, 5, and 6 are all Netflix originals. But this probably the biggest success that YouTube Red has ever had is Cobra Kai. It's really worth checking out, and it's just definitely deserved of all of its accolades. It's so well written. Each episode's like half an hour ish. Like it's a damn fun time. And I also really like one of the kid leads in it, Zolo Maraduna, who played Jaime in the Blue Beetle movie recently, which was actually, I think, an underrated DC film. He's really great in this show as well. And I'm still playing catch up on this series, but enjoying every second of it. Once I'm done the whole series, I'm definitely going to examine this one. All right, let's head for some British programming. This is Sherwood.
Two shocking and unexpected murders shatter an already fractured community, leading to one of the largest manhunts in British history. Created by James Graham, available on BritBox.
I might steamrolled you a little bit there. Have you ever watched Cobra Kai?
No,
No.
I
And
I
it's
don't
stuff
I
from the
don't want
80s,
to.
so you don't even care. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Just checking on
it's a
the
boy movie.
That's fair. Except for the next Karate Kid, which was a girl movie because it starred Hilary Swank as a teenager.
Right. Yeah, I still don't.
Sherwood's though those interesting. I'm a sucker for the British melodrama, especially when you throw murder mystery in that one. And Leslie Manville's in this one, and I adore her. I think she's amazing. She was in The Phantom Thread, among other amazing films. But also, the lead investigator in this show is an actor named David Morrissey, who Chloe you would know. Do you know who David Morrissey is?
I'm familiar with the name.
He played the governor.
Um, that's why.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
He's the governor. So I don't know how you feel about him, but I think he's a phenomenal actor, and I'll watch
I
anything
think
he's
he's
in.
fantastic. I think he's amazing. And I love the governor character. I mean, not as a person, but just like the structure and how he's played. So, yeah, I thoroughly enjoy that actor. And you said Samantha Morton earlier as well, and she's
Yes.
also
She's
really good.
Alpha, right?
Yeah,
Plays
she's
Alpha.
Alpha.
But also Minority Report, and oh boy, so much good. In America, so many great films. Morrissey plays the lead investigator in this, and just watching him figure the case out, I really dig it. It looks like a small town murder mystery without much depth on the outside, but there are some really great twists in it, really great reveals, really, really good character work in this one. And it's a real surprise. Like the critic assessment of it is really, really good. And it's really well paced. It doesn't feel dry. None of those boring patches at all, just all good exposition. And this is a second win for David Morrissey this year because he also did a procedural with Toby Jones called The Long Shadow for Sundance TV, which I think is also available through AMC Plus. And that show's really, really good as well. So Morrissey went home to do some television, and it's paying off, I think. Yeah, what is Tom Holland's buddy from Spider-Man up to these days? Well, he's doing a show called Reginald the Vampire.
In a world populated by beautiful, fit, and vain vampires, Reginald stumbles into it as an unlikely hero who will navigate every kind of obstacle and discovers he has a few unrecognized powers of his own. Created by Harley Payton, available on Crave.
And I am a Harley Payton guy because Harley Payton is a former Twin Peaks producer. He produced 22 episodes of the show. So I got to give the guy some love right there. But I also really like Jacob Batalon. He plays Spider-Man's best friend in the last three Spider-Man movies. And I don't know, he's a likable character in this. Reginald is a super likable guy. And then, through circumstances becomes a vampire, and it kind of has to be trained the ropes through Mandela Van Peebles' character. And my God, so Mandela Van Peebles is like black cinema black cinema royalty. Like he has a lineage because his dad is Mario Van Peebles. And then his grandfather is Melvin Van Peebles, who made a film called Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song, which is like the birth of blaxploitation in the 70s, in the early 70s. So he's like part of a long line of film history. And he looks exactly like his dad, and it's so fucking weird. I dig this show. It is super corny, and it's like the budget on sci-fi, because it's a sci-fi original, the budget would go to shows like Chucky and Resident Alien, and then Reginald the Vampire would kind of have the scraps, because there's some CG that it's like, ugh. And effects and
Right.
camera dollies and stuff that you're like, yikes. But then you watch a show like Chucky or Resident Alien, you're like, this show looks like $1 million. Like, what the
Yeah.
hell? So yeah, this feels like the low end of it, and definitely a low end because it sounds like after the season 2, which just finished airing, it's getting the axe. It hasn't been official yet, but it sounds like it's not gonna go for a third season. But I think it's fun. It's cheesy. It gives you a chuckle here and there, and it's charming. So it's enough for like a background laundry watch. Honestly, it's super innocuous, and I kind of enjoy it. And I totally keep forgetting that they can say fuck on sci-fi. It takes me out because it looks so much like a network show.
Mhm.
So then when somebody drops an F-bomb, you're like, whoa, okay. So, but I also like, I'm reminded of that every time I watch The Expanse as well, because they drop an F-bomb every now and then. So, and that show aired on sci-fi for at least the first 4 seasons before becoming a Prime Video original. I got one more, and this one's disturbing. Sausage Party Foodtopia.
Following the events of the 2016 film, Frank, Brenda, Barry, and Sammy tried to build their own food society. Featuring the voices of Seth Rogen, Kristen Wiig, Michael Cera, Edward Norton, Will Forte, Sam Richardson, Natasha Rothwell, David Krumholtz, and Yasir Lester, created by Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg, and Conrad Vernon, available on Prime Video.
And to remind everybody, this film was an 82 fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. Critics really liked this film, and I really thought it was hilarious when I saw it in theaters. And a lot of my laughs were like, "Oh my god, I can't believe they fucking did that!" Like, there's so much of that in this movie. I don't know if you ever watched Sausage Party, but
I watched the first one, yeah.
it's wild. It's wild, and this show is just as like, it goes right back into kind of the same stuff. This is they're now outside the grocery store and now have to forage on for themselves. And I'm surprised that almost this whole cast came back. I think Nick Kroll didn't come back. Salma Hayek, Craig Robinson, and somebody else didn't come back. But I mean, the rest of them all there. Even Edward Norton. Edward Norton came back to voice his bagel character, like, which I mean, goes full on food orgy within the first 5 minutes of season of episode 1. To just like, it's just, this show could just get so gross so quickly, and it makes you wonder like, okay, where's the limits here, and when does it become too much?
Yeah.
So I mean, was the movie enough? Was it suffice, or do we need this 6-episode series? I don't know. I'm not there yet. I'm not there to make the decision. I will when I bring it back to this show, but I'm not really there to make that decision right now. But the critics are not liking it. I'll tell you that. They're probably kind of divided, like 45% here. They're not really into this one. Not as much as they were in the movie, but yeah, I mean, Food Orgy episode 1. That's all I can say. Are you kind of done with the whole thing after the movie?
I mean, the movie itself wasn't super memorable in the first place for me.
Yeah.
So, and it was kind of just like, that's a weird thing that happened. That's a weird thing that happened in the cinema universe, but it wasn't like groundbreaking. Like, I need to see more of this right now. Like, it
Yeah,
was just like, that was
that's
weird.
fair.
That was funny, and that was kind of it. Like, it's
Yeah,
not like a staple like South Park is. Like,
gotcha.
yeah.
Yeah, I can go
I'll
with
probably
that.
check out the show anyways, though,
Yeah,
just
it's
cuz.
an animated show on Prime, so why not,
Yeah,
right?
so
I got to add some stuff to my shelves this week. That's right. New to the library. First up is Allied, starring Marion Cotillard and Brad Pitt. It was directed by Robert Zemeckis. I honestly wasn't a big fan of this movie when it played theaters, so I'm giving it another shot because I like this. I like the actors. I like the people involved. But some interesting special features on this one. Through the Lens, directing with Robert Zemeckis. I mean, a guy that's been directing films for decades. He did Back to the Future. I mean, come on, the guy's just got a lot of body of work. Also, Guys and Gals, which is about the ensemble cast of the whole the film. Also, Stop Loss. This is the basically for a post-military PTSD film with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Channing Tatum, Ryan Phillippe, and Abby Cornish. A solid film. This is my favorite Kimberly Pierce movie, more than Boys Don't Cry, which is still a great film, but I like this film a lot more. There's commentary by Kimberly Pierce and co-writer Mark Richard. 11 deleted scenes with commentary, and then a day in boot camp, which I love featurettes like that, where it brings the cast, brings the camera behind the scenes to show the cast get prepared for the movie. I'm into that. I also got the original Mr. and Mrs. Smith. It was directed by Alfred Hitchcock. This is stuff I didn't know before even the Brad Pitt film, that it was all originally a Hitchcock film. I had no idea. But this is one of the Warner Archive releases. It features a featurette, Hitchcock Meets the Smiths. And for some reason, there's some classic cartoons on this Blu-ray, and 2 audio-only radio broadcasts featuring Carol Lombard and Bob Hope. I don't know why they're on there. It feels like Warner's like, well,
interesting.
we got these things. We want to do something with those? And they're like, we got a Hitchcock movie coming out. Could throw them on there. And like, yeah, okay, let's do it.
Extra assets.
Exactly.
I don't.
Exactly. I don't think people are seeking those ones out, but they get them anyway. So I don't know. Warehouse 13, they sent me the complete series. This is 5 seasons of the sci-fi original. That's 63 episodes. And I really, really love this show. It's basically an artifact collecting procedural show with like a story running underneath it. But basically it's this giant never ending warehouse of supernatural and science fiction artifacts to
Okay.
hide them away from the public. The show is a lot of fun. One of the lead actors in it, Eddie McClintock, I love that guy. I got to meet him on the set of Backstrom when I was a PA there, and he's such a nice guy. And he actually said he would do a podcast with me, and I've never been able to follow up on that. But if he's out there, Eddie McClintock, you owe me a podcast. Get it onto the TikToks, folks. Eddie McClintock owes me a podcast. So threatening, so vaguely threatening. The set itself includes 2 holiday specials and 2 full animated web series that they made, gag reels for each season, and there was a crossover they did with another show called Eureka on Sci-Fi, which is also a very good show. Then lastly, I got the Flash, the complete series, and I know you're thinking, I already talked about the Flash complete series. Well, this is the one from 1990 that only lasted 22 episodes and had John Wesley Shipp Jr. as the lead. And yeah, it wasn't great, but they still managed to cross it over with the new Flash series, as well as Mark Hamill, who played the Trickster in this original 1990 series, and he reprised the role for the Grant Gustin series. But yeah, the originating of that is in this one, and yeah, I'll also watch it because it's corny, and I've watched, I watched old episodes of the Incredible Hulk and everything, so why wouldn't I watch this? So yeah, let's do some revisiting here. So yes, now that it's over, I just wanted to have a quick couple thoughts about Masters of the Air on Apple TV Plus.
During World War II, 5 miles above the ground and behind enemy lines, 10 men inside an aluminum bomber known as Flying Fortress battle anti-aircraft fire and unrelenting flocks of German fighters. Developed by John Orloff, based on the book by Donald L. Miller, available on Apple TV+.
So this is in the same, like, this is produced by Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg. It's like a series that like they did with Band of Brothers and The Pacific, which are 2 shows probably way before your time. But excellent World War II shows, like the best. I think those 2 shows are like must watches for like the definitive World War II watch. They're so good, and you'll recognize so many people in it. You'll be like, holy shit, because it's just like the who's who of like main stars now. And Master of the Air, I was like, yes, we're getting one just like that. Like, and I think maybe I pumped it up way too much. Because Callum Turner and Austin Butler are really good in it, but that's because Callum Turner and Austin Butler are just really good actors. Like, that's just how it works. And Barry Keoghan shows up for a little bit, but again, a really great actor. The character work is not great. You don't feel like you get a foothold on anybody, and people are, in the first handful of episodes, people are dying left and right, so it's like hard to form any sort of want to attach to any of these characters. So you don't know how long they're going to stick around for. But I also found the storytelling a bit disjointed and hard to get into. So it was more just like kind of applauding through the episodes to get them done by the end. And really great special effects, really great war stuff. But as far as like telling a cohesive character driven story, it's just not there. But watching the accompanying documentary that they released after, called The Bloody 100th, gives you more of a clearer picture of the real people that these characters are now that you have the actual real context of who they are. So maybe, I don't know, and I feel like it would have dispelled the drama of the series. But if I had watched that beforehand, maybe I'd feel better about the characters, but I would feel too in the know about what I was going to see and what was coming next. So it's a hard sell. I think if you like these World War II shows, you should watch it. But it is the lesser series. I even thought that the Tom Hanks submarine movie that's on Apple, Greyhound, was better than this movie, this series. That movie is better than this series, if that makes sense. I'm just going to remind you some stuff. And by this week's reminders, I just have one, not stuff, just one. Perfect Days is out This is one of Wim Wenders's greatest films, and this is one of the creators of German New Wave cinema, who's been making films like back since like Herzog and Rainer Werner Fassbender was, and now he's made another crowning film, I think, in his career. It's a beautiful film and deservedly of its Criterion edition, which is out this week. If you want to hear more of my thoughts on this one, you can go back to the February 16th episode of this show. I gave my rundown there. And that brings us to the end, unless we're going to do some butts.
Yeah, we got butts.
Do some butts? Did I
And
say
they're
do
both,
some butts?
you did,
I
we're
d-
not doing that.
we're not doing some butts. We're
No.
not doing some butts. Come, get your head out of the gutter, people. But yeah, you have a couple to talk about this week. Do you want to go to
Yeah,
France for the first one?
for sure.
All right, it's Infested. Residents of a rundown French apartment building battle against an army of deadly, rapidly reproducing spiders. Written and directed by Sebastian Vanitek. Available on Shudder.
This movie was great. Obviously it's in French, so it has to be watched with subtitles, but I watch stuff with subtitles anyways. Um,
Overdubbing, never dubbing, always
yeah,
subtitles.
always subtitles. Um, and it's creepy, it's dingy. Um, I really liked the characters. It but we were kind of non-explicitly told not to like the characters. You know, like they all have their flaws. Like one's a junkie who steals things, like steals bicycles and whatnot, and then stores them on the building property. Um, and then the two main characters have like something going on about their mom. I think she's dead or something. Like we're never really explicitly told what's going on with the characters, and it's kind of just weirdly implied. And that was one of the things that took it away a little bit for me. It's just like personal drama being injected for not really a specific reason.
Mm-hmm.
I guess just to flesh out the characters that didn't really need that extra exposition. Um, but the spiders themselves are creepy and gross, and they look super cool. Um, there's a lot of spiders, like uncountable amounts of spiders in very small, tight spaces. And it like I can't exaggerate how much this is gross in the best way. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this, and I'm excited for you to see it 100%.
Yeah, it's on my list for sure. Yeah, I put it on there. All right, so that brings us right in. This next one was directly because of this movie, because of Infested, that you watched this one.
Yes. I
And,
wanted to see how they stacked up against each other.
and it's Wells Fargo, I mean, sorry, Wellgo USA's
Wells
Sting.
Fargo.
After raising an unnervingly talented spider in secret, 12-year-old Charlotte must face the facts about her pet and fight for her family's survival when the once charming creature rapidly transforms into a flesh-eating monster. Written and directed by Kaya Roach Turner.
So, interestingly, these are both spider movies, obviously,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but they also have the same problem, the exact same problem when it comes to how they choose to character build. Injecting weird personal strifes that are kind of just out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like have you seen Sting?
No, I have not yet. I have it on Blu-ray. It's on my list to watch.
Okay. Um yeah, just weird personal drama that doesn't really make any sense, and we've seen nothing about it before. It's just
Mm-hmm.
kind of like this is happening and you didn't know. The effects are really good. Like the spider itself is pretty cool. It is a good premise. I do really like the premise. I'm trying so hard not to get into spoiler territory because it's still quite new and you
Yeah,
haven't seen it.
right.
It it's really just something that you need to watch in order to fully understand.
Infested is the better movie.
Infested is definitely the better of the two. They are both worth watching, but I'd say Infested is scarier.
Okay.
Sting has a lot of animal death. It's a lot of animal death.
Well, at least the creature design's good. It's not like an Arcadian moment
Yeah.
where it looks like
I mean, it's just
goofy.
a spider. It's literally just a spider.
All right, now we're gonna do some quick bullet point pick your brain there, Chloe. You got to see Longlegs, and
I did.
how did this movie wash over you?
Initially, the dialogue was super off-putting. Like everybody's super weird and you don't really know why. And
Hmm.
then weird stuff will happen around them and they're just like, "Oh, okay." Like they just accept everything
Yeah.
as it happens. Like the main female lead, she works for the FBI and she's just like, "Yeah, I'm psychic." And they're like, "Okay, cool. Do psychic work for the FBI." Who what FBI director is like, "Yeah, okay, I believe you." Like,
That's fair. That's fair.
um, and then the chief, I guess he would
Yeah.
be,
Yeah.
the chief's daughter's dialogue when, I can't remember her name, the the lead.
Right. Micah Monroe's character. Yeah.
Yeah, when she, like, talks to her for the first time and the daughter's talking about, like, baby cows being strapped down in boxes until they die. Like, what? What? What are you talking about? And then she's just like, yeah, 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 you're right. What do you mean you're right? Like,
I
it was just very confusing initially, but it did kind of make more sense by the end.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Can we talk? Because this won't be spoilers. Um, the title card. Uh,
Yeah, the title
that
card is good.
Oh my god, just having her look at the tree, then back to her, and look there and back, and then look, and it's Cage shot from here down.
Yeah,
Like, not a jump scare, but will resonate with me forever. And then
yeah,
the dialogue right into the scream of the title card with that score is just, I mean, I brought up I multiple times have brought up the Evil Dead Rise one as one of my favorite title cards. This is
yeah,
I think this is the one for 2024. This is my favorite one for
yeah, yeah,
2024.
I think so.
And to start with a T-Rex quote, bang a gong. I was like, wow.
Cage's makeup was so phenomenal. Like
Hmm.
I really like the character design
Hmm.
for, I guess, Longlegs is
Yeah,
what
that's his name. Yeah,
he's
long
referred to
legs.
as.
Just brilliant, brilliant stuff. All right, I'm gonna move you along to Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. You got to check out.
I did. Uh yeah, as good as I thought it was going to be. But it did take me a little while to adjust to the CG rendering. It kind of felt like a video game for the first little bit
Okay,
until
okay.
I adjusted to it. I felt like the CG took a bit of a step back, but maybe I've just got like
I
rose-colored glasses on when it comes
maybe
to the previous movies.
in theaters it looked striking. Like it came through really, really well. So I
Okay.
haven't watched it since home video, since any streaming release. So yeah, I'm wondering, yeah, because that concerns me a bit. Story wise is great. Owen Teague
Yeah,
as Noah is
for sure.
so beautiful, and I love that um there is such a depth to motivation in the film
For
as
sure.
well. And I really enjoy that. It doesn't go exactly where you think it's going to go at all times. So
Mhm.
I enjoy that. Like, and I love the orangutan, and I wish he didn't get killed.
Yeah, I wish he didn't
Yeah,
die.
yeah.
And
Spoilers.
yeah, Kevin Durand as Proxima Caesar is amazing, just fantastic.
Which is really great that you brought up Kevin Durand, because now I'm going to ask you about Abigail.
Loved it. Loved every minute of it. Um, I I kind of see what you meant by it. It looks like Angus's lines are kind of like fed afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, but it kind of looked like, to me, it kind of came off like that's like his character. Like he doesn't really move his mouth
He
when he
just
talks.
mumbles
Like
or yeah.
he's a mumbler.
Yeah.
Which would fit the character.
Yeah.
Um, Dan Stevens. Dan Stevens, so good. He's so evil in it. Like he's just a bad guy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's comical, and I just love it.
Fucking what's her name comes out with instead of garlic has the onions, and he's like, those are fucking onions. Oh, love it.
Catherine Newton too. Love
So
Catherine Newton
good.
in this.
Yeah.
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 Everybody's just giving it everything, and
Mhm.
it seemed like they had fun doing it,
Mhm.
and it really comes through.
Can we talk about the cameo at the end of the movie when Matthew Good comes in
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
as the big boss, and it's
Lazar, yeah.
so awesomely Dracula like. Oh,
Yeah.
so good. Just so good. Abigail is a film that they should have kept in shrouds of what the story is about. And you
Mhm.
should have just
100%.
it should have just been like, you got to watch this girl, you kidnap this little girl, you have to watch her,
Yeah.
and then something happens. Who knows? They should have kept it like that.
Um I feel like I'm getting a little burnt out of Giancarlo. Whenever they need like a mob boss type guy, it's him.
It's
It's him
him.
every
It's
time.
him. And now he's going to do a villain again because they just released the Captain America Brave New World trailer. And he's a villain in that too. He's a Star Wars villain.
It
He's the
seems a little
go-to.
typecasty.
Yeah. Yeah. He feels a bit like the go-to right now. I love him. I
Yeah, for
absolutely
sure.
love Giancarlo Esposito. And I mean, going way back, like he's in fucking Usual Suspects. So I mean, he's been around for a long time, but now in this part of his career, he is really his moment right now. And I guess
Mhm.
they're gonna wring out that cloth for as much as they can get. I'm excited to get. I was excited to get your thoughts on that. So, all right. So what's going on next week? The taste of next week, Chloe. Twisters is what I'm seeing on Thursday.
Twisters.
Yeah. Did you ever see Twister from 1994?
I think so.
It's such a
Like a
great
while
film.
ago.
It's fun. It is so much fun. So I'm really excited for this one. Glenn Powell is the lead. We also got Daisy Edgar Jones in this one. Anthony Ramos is in this. I really like Anthony Ramos and Brandon Pereira. You saw Nope, right?
Yeah.
He plays Angel.
Oh,
I fucking love him.
I love him
I
a
love
lot.
Nope. Let's see right here
Yeah.
into the camera. I love Nope so much. So
Yeah.
much. So much I love that movie. The part with the sunglasses at night where it's warping the song. One of the
Yeah.
greatest cinematic moments in fucking history. And Jean Jacket, incredible stuff. Incredible stuff.
Yeah.
They do an Akira slide in that movie. Anyway, sorry. But yeah, this is Lee Isaac Chung's directed this one. He did Minari, and then he did this film. I don't know what the correlation is there, but I'm excited about it. So that is next week. That is it for this week. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and Letterboxd at The Stevel Dead.
You can find me on Letterboxd at HoneyBunChloe.
And you can find this show on stevestabbing.ca. If you're on the YouTube page right now and you haven't already, please give us a like on this video and a subscribe to the channel, because then that's how we know that we're valid in life and all that stuff. I'm
That we
also,
matter.
yeah, exactly, with that we exist. But you can also find us on the shiftheads.ca. You can go to the YouTube page, YouTube, the Facebook page as well, and there's 4,000 members going strong there. And also, I am on back with Shane Hewitt, doing weekly radio movie reviews on the radio in Toronto on News 1010, which then gets rebroadcast across the country. So technically, I'm national again, I guess. And also, I'm on Tremble, the horror podcast, and our newest episodes are Mad God and Skinamarink. And I just did an after the credits. I'm getting all my plugs in right now. I just did an after the credits with Marina, Bill, and Melissa, and we did the episode on bike riders and Longlegs. Longlegs was the main film, so I got more love for that film there. But we've emptied out our list. We got to fill it up again. So until next time, bye bye.